My name is Alicia Wright, and I have strong opinions about vampires. Vampires don't burn in the sun is my corsets didn't kill Victorian women. I've made 2 other vampire videos now, essentially the message being, don't be the folklore fun police. I've said that no one has had a go at my vampires, so you might be wondering why I care. I mean, I guess I don't care, but I don't want beginner writers to get bad advice about writing, and I guess I just want people to not be folklore snobs. If you have a preference for a certain kind of vampire, I'm okay with that. But the attitude I keep hearing isn't I just don't like it, it's not following vampire folklore, so it's bad. And I have heard this attitude from people who don't know anything much about vampire folklore or vampire literature that I know. For example, I was having this discussion with someone who tried to tell me the one thing vampires have always had in common is they burn in the sun. I may have mentioned this, but they don't. They proceeded to link me to a page that proved my point. It was a TV tropes page stating that there is no oral tradition of this, and listed Dracula as an inversion of the trope, as book Dracula doesn't burn in the sun. Neither do Carmilla or Lord Riven, literary vampires that predate him by decades. So if you're trying to use folklore or classic literature as your source, you're wrong, basically. The burn is a lie. But yeah, the person who had that argument with me, they'd openly said they're not interested in folklore, and I was talking about a Dracula movie with them, by which I mean I was watching the movie at home and I was chatting with them on Skype or something. They weren't watching the movie. I'd never actually seen a Dracula movie before, and it was one of those adaptations where they, really mess it up. They killed Jonathan! They killed Jonathan because he wasn't as famous as the guy playing Van Helsing. Don't kill Jonathan! Nah, movie adaptations. Mina was married to Arthur as well. It was weird. There was a lot of things that it was like, huh? But back to the topic at hand. And I was talking about Jonathan and Lucy and Mina, and it occurred to me that they had no idea what I was watching. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's a Dracula movie. So, you don't know anything about Dracula. You can even tell what I was watching by the 3 of the 4 main characters. And you want to tell me about whether or not vampires burn in the sun. Okay, sure. This is why I doubt the folklore knowledge of most people who do this. This is why. This is, to be fair, this is just one example, but I just stop. I also had a moderator on one of the websites I have Get Mad. I submitted to a vampire group my OC vampire rant, and I don't want to say they were salty, but I'm pretty sure that they were being salty. I submitted the guide/rant and they rejected it, and I thought I must just be the wrong folder, or maybe they think I'm insulting someone or trying to start a fight. So I asked, excuse me, why was this rejected? I presume it's in the wrong folder. If I'm right, can you tell me the right one so I can resubmit? And they said, everyone has their own ideas about what makes a good OC, and this is just a rant. And I was like, did you read it? Apparently, they had. So I guess they don't think approach vampires like literally every other character and don't get hung up on a checklist of Dracula traits, because that won't help you, is good advice. I guess you'll have to take from that what you will. Just to be clear, if that had just been a random passerby comment, I would have been fine with it. But coming from a moderator who's deciding whether or not my work gets exposure based on that they don't like my opinion, when I wasn't breaking any of the group's rules, which I wasn't because I checked, I found that unacceptable. Like, if you disagree with me on this point, I don't have a problem with that. It's a big world. Someone's gonna disagree with me. I don't think make a good character first, worry about the vampire bit second is too controversial. I know there are people out there who do dislike my writing, that's okay. Like, you can't please everyone. That's sort of what I'm getting at. I'm not going to stick to one type of vampire because someone else thinks that's the only proper vampire type there is. Plus, I can't help but feel that most people irritated at sexy vampires just plain don't like Twilight. If you want to know my opinion, I don't like Twilight either, but quite frankly, I find this anti-sexy vampire thing a little bit, or even sometimes a lot, sexist. Like, really? Sexy male vampires are unacceptable? Because sexy lady vampires featured in both Carmilla and Dracula. There's that Vampirella chick. I've never read that, but I mean, is that an outfit or a bathing suit? I mean, it was designed by a woman, but you know. But oh no! Anne Rice and Stephanie Meyer wrote sexy male vampires and werewolves! Folklore can't be sexy! It's not like there's a million stories about sexy mermaids or sexy fairies or sexy demons or sexy lamias or sexy snow women. Oh wait. There are. Another argument that I got was, well, we don't know any better when it comes to fairies and mermaids. Well, you don't know any better about vampires either, clearly, so that argument just doesn't hold up, does it? I mean, the first literary vampire, Lord Riven, was a hot guy who got all the ladies. He literally seduces the protagonist's sister by saying she's the only person he's ever loved, and talking about his dangerous past, and how she's brought joy to his life. Human nature hasn't changed a lot in 200 years, has it? Maybe just chill your boots and let people write whatever kind of vampire they want and find something else that you like, or find something valid to criticize, instead of whining that they didn't burn in the sun when you're really angry about how they look good without a shirt on. I think maybe people need to be a little more honest about why they're really complaining. Like what you like, and don't like what you don't like. Just be honest, and say you simply don't like that sort of thing. Things aren't bad just because you don't like them. Part of why I wrote Misprints was a response to this idea that you have to write things a certain way or it's wrong. I might not like Stephanie Meyer's work, but she's entitled to write it how she wants, and we're entitled to react how we want to it. It was also sort of a response to people like putting things in boxes, don't they? And I don't think we should be bound by the boxes that people try to force on us. Whether it be your birth gender or your job or I just don't like boxes. Stop with the boxes, people. I chose Hettie and Victor for this one, because Hettie particularly does not like the vampire box that she has been dealt, and she's determined to just ignore it insofar as possible and just do her own thing. She wants to be a magical girl. And Victor, he's been sticking in his box, sort of. Like, his dad got killed for sticking in the vampire box, so he sort of has a complicated relationship with the vampire box. Because it's probably good for him to be a more traditional vampire, but also, it did kill his dad. He got killed for being a traditional vampire. He's not entirely keen in following in those footsteps there. But he's also found that he's happier trying to step out of that box. And I just think that's a good lesson for us all. I wouldn't be happy writing traditional, in air quotes, vampires, because I don't find them that interesting. I like vampires, but I don't want to read about the same vampire over and over again. And in fact, there's a lot of vampire fiction out there that I don't like, so I'm writing the sort of vampire fiction that I do like, and I don't think anyone should stop me. But if you don't like it, you don't have to read it. Well, I just think that's a freedom that shouldn't be taken away from anyone. Have a good day, nerds.